The government's point man on finance, Audley Shaw, came with some good news on Thursday as he opened the 2016-2017 national budget debate. Most Jamaicans were eagerly awaiting Mr. Shaw's presentation to find out whether the government would honor its grand election promise of abolishing income tax for workers who earn $1.5 million or less yearly. The plan has been heavily criticized by the opposition and members of the private sector as distortionary and inequitable, and many even called on the Andrew Holness administration to abandon its proposal. But as Audley Shaw opened the budget on Thursday, he made it quite clear that the government had every intention of honoring its election commitment.
People need a break. People need a break. People have their children to go to school. People have food and nutrition to put on the table. Children can't learn unless they have proper nutrition. And so when we presented our 10-point plan, which included 1.5, this was not just a political gimmick. It wasn't at all. It was something that was well grounded in research into the situation, the feeling, the suffering of the people.
A defensive Shaw was quick to point out that the government took note of all the concerns leveled by the trade union body, private sector groups, and the International Monetary Fund, IMF. And he made it clear that the IMF was privy to the discussions concerning the government's tax break proposal.
We also took under serious advisement what the IMF had to say about the plan. They were concerned with ensuring that any plan addresses the issues of fairness, equity, transparency, non-distortion, simplicity, uniformity, and that the revenue loss would be replaced by recurring revenues. We consider the IMF's input into the design of the tax plan to be immensely important. We took on board and incorporated into the tax plan everything the IMF required. The Prime Minister took an unprecedented step to invite the IMF into the hallowed halls of the cabinet room, and they trashed it out together.
So what exactly is the Holness administration offering? Finance Minister Audley Shaw says the personal income tax threshold will be increased to $1.5 million across the board for PAYE workers.
So we're going to give something. And we know that the people of Jamaica are going to give us back something in terms of increments of productivity so that we can move from poverty to prosperity. So, Mr. Speaker, let me say at the outset, we are announcing today that we are raising the personal income tax threshold to $1.5 million across the board for everyone.
Mr. Shaw argues that the government's tax break will benefit even more Jamaicans. He says approximately 251,000 employees will now benefit. That's an increase from the original 118,000 workers who were targeted. But there's some variation to the plan. The government has acceded to the advice of the Private Sector Organization of Jamaica, PSOJ, who recommended that the plan be implemented in 2 phases. According to the Finance Minister, the threshold will be moving to $1.2 million effective July 1, 2016, and to $1.5 million as of April 1, 2017.
So we took a look at it. We look at what IMF said. We took a look at what all the unions said and what the PSOJ said. Then say if you can't afford it one time, phase it in. Phase it in. Phase it in. Yeah. And I said to myself, every time I saw this statement, phase it in. I think of a man in Craighead in the constituency. Him say, if you start, you will finish. So, phase it in. And Mr. Speaker, that is what we're going to do. We're going to phase it in. We will do this in 2 phases. By first going to a personal income tax threshold of $1,275,000 effective July 1, 2016. to a personal income tax threshold of $1.5 million effective April 1, 2017. And we're going to ease the pressure on the fiscal account by phasing it in. Now, Mr. Speaker, the cost in fiscal year 2016 and 17 is estimated at $12.5 billion. And I want to make it clear, because we are totally transparent here, the full annualized cost would have been $16.7 billion in the first year, and $14.1 billion in the second year, had it been 2 full fiscal years. And the reason why the first year would be higher is because you have a larger number of people that are in the band from $592,000 to $1 million. Yeah. And that's why the first year would be 16.7 had it been annualized. Starting in July, therefore, will be a cost of $12.5 billion.
And there's a warning to those who believe the tax break is for everyone.
So this is for people who are on the PAYE system. You're working, then take out your salary deduction per fortnight, per week, whatever, and by the way, you get your pay slip and it marked PAYE. So if you're not paying PAYE, you're not in this plan. Okay?
I'm Leslie Anshaud for CEEN Caribbean News.